A police chief is accused of some of the most egregious, disgusting behavior you can imagine, especially in the workplace. Things like spiking officers' coffee with Viagra, defecating in the workplaces, apparently calling it a joke. These are just some of the explosive allegations that 5 cops are making against their own boss in North Bergen, New Jersey. So is this a prankster gone wrong or a toxic chief running his department like a frat house? I've got the shocking legal filings, and I'm going to be speaking with the attorney heading up this bizarre case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. North Bergen, New Jersey. It is reeling after 5 police officers filed explosive legal claims against their own police chief, alleging a shocking pattern of harassment that is so bizarre, it's honestly kind of hard to believe. Accusations of spiking coffee with Viagra, defecating on the floor, stabbing an officer in the genitals with a hypodermic needle. Yeah. So the natural question would be, what is going on here, right? Well, the 5 officers, Detective Michael Darren, his son, Officer Michael Darren, Lieutenant Alex Guzman, Officer Rashid Siam, and Officer Christopher Bowen, have brought forth legal claims of a workplace that became allegedly so toxic, so humiliating, that this was a nightmare. And they claim it was all under Police Chief Robert Farley, who took over in February of 2024. And officers say that Farley's misconduct didn't start when he became chief, but rather for years. The third-generation cop, following in his father and grandfather's footsteps as deputy chiefs, allegedly carried out abuses that went unchecked until his 2024 promotion. And one of the officers, Michael Darren, described Farley's alleged pranks in disturbing detail in his legal notice, writing, "Throughout my time in the chief's office, Chief Farley would play what he called pranks. These range from putting ink on door handles, putting firecrackers under your chair so when you sat down they went off, purposely eating messy to make the office a mess and having food all over people's desks and floor, shaving himself on people's desks, purposely putting as much toilet paper as he could into the toilet as well as other objects and flushing it repeatedly until it was clogged so bad plumbers had to be called. Defecating on the floor of the bathroom, the toilet of the bathroom, garbage cans in the bathroom, and garbage cans next to people's desks, purposely taking people's keys and setting off their car alarms in the parking lot, and laughing until they would notice." Yet, on the police department's website, Farley promised transparency and professionalism, writing, "Like my predecessors, I will strive to lead the officers of our department to be an accessible component of our community while maintaining their competency, transparency, and professionalism. I am proud to serve this diverse community and look forward to continued collaboration with our community to deliver proactive, efficient, and professional services to prioritize public safety and quality of life for the residents of the township of North Bergen." Now, we have got more of these shocking legal filings to bring to you, but I want to bring in right now the man leading this explosive case. We're joined by attorney Patrick Toscano, former prosecutor, trial attorney. He is representing all of these 5 officers in this, what is truly an unbelievable situation. Patrick, thanks so much for taking the time. I actually wanted to start because I think you went on the record as saying, "I have never seen anything like this in my life." Is that your statement? You agree with that? Because I haven't. I'll tell you that much. I haven't.
That is in fact the statement. You know, and first of all, thanks for having us on. It's our absolute pleasure. Remember, all this is public record. It's all part and parcel of what we call a Title 59 public record filing, notice of tort claim. So again, everything that's alleged in the notices of tort claim, as well as the attachments, it's by way of video evidence, photographic evidence, and numerous witness statements. So to say that I've never seen anything like this in my life, as a prosecutor for several years, never saw anything like it. Defense attorney representing hundreds of officers in my career, never seen anything like it. My partners here at the law firm, never seen anything like it. You know, we're receiving call on top of call, literally dozens. I mean, no exaggeration, dozens, forget the media outlets, but from others in law enforcement who just can't believe the story. So the story, again, is so bizarre, it's very difficult to actually believe what the allegations are. Yet,
right,
from everything we see, everything is 100% accurate.
Let's break that down for a second. So these aren't lawsuits yet, right? These are notices that you have to file under the law before you file a lawsuit. How does it work?
That's a great question. Yeah. Obviously, in the state of New Jersey, if you're going to allege in a lawsuit certain common law causes of action, then you have to file what's called the Title 59 Notice of Tort Claim within a certain period of time, and then you have to wait before filing the actual lawsuit. You have to wait 180 days. The legislature has essentially said to allow the municipality to investigate, number one, and number two, to attempt to settle. Now, if we were just going to file a federal civil rights lawsuit, which clearly we have here, it's going to eventually be filed, in the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey and Newark. But in order to, or what we call, for want of a better word, common law causes of action, in addition to the civil rights violations, we have to wait for the 180 days. And this way you file everything together in one pleading. So that's where that stands.
Okay, that makes sense. And by the way, when you said people were reaching out, do you mean people that have similar allegations against Farley?
No, just people in law enforcement, either individuals we've represented, departments we've represented, statewide. I mean, people we haven't heard from, clients that we've represented 10, 15 years ago. It seems like everybody's just in shock and awe over, not only how many, the myriad acts that have been laid out in the Title 59 notices of tort claim, but just the bizarre nature of them. And they run the gamut. It's not just, we're not talking about pranks within a department. Nobody really cares about that. We're talking about sexual acts, exposing yourself, sending sex toys to, your officers' homes so their children and their wives can open packages and see it. I mean, there's a video now that has been brought to our attention. After this story broke, there's now a video that we've been provided is absolutely abhorrent. Our Title 59 notices of tort claim on behalf of our officers will be amended, hopefully by close of business tomorrow, to include this video. And I think when individuals see this video and who disseminated this video, it'll blow people away even more. And again, once that becomes public filing, that video, and the public's entitled to see it, but not be for them.
Little side note here, by the way, I think it's pretty obvious that our content proves the need for personal safety, right? And that is especially true when it comes to protecting one of your most valuable possessions, your wallet. Yeah, your cards, your cash, whatever it may be. Crime's up. You got to protect yourself in 2025. And that is why we have partnered with Extra Wallets. This is a smart wallet designed for speed, security, and never losing your stuff again. This little rechargeable card finder inside makes your wallet basically unlosable. It connects to your phone for easy tracking. And if anything ever happens to your wallet, Apple Find My allows you to ring it, see your wallet's location, and get alerts. Also, love this. Check it out. Boom. Click that little button. All the cards pop up. 12 plus more can store. No more digging for cards anymore. And it is made with premium materials like space-grade aluminum. This feels amazing. So right now, Extra has up to 30% plus an extra 10% wide using code Sidebar, so you can save up to 40% total. So upgrade your wallet today by clicking the link below or scanning the QR code on screen. Hope you can check it out. Right. Okay. And so we won't know what it is yet. I understand that. Let me ask you this. Disturbing allegations, to say the least. Do you know of any ongoing or past criminal investigation? Does any of this warrant a look by prosecutors?
Here, I can tell you this, that after consultation with our clients, our 5 clients, and without getting into attorney-client privileged information, we suggested strongly that certain things be reported to the state attorney general's office. We can tell you further that our clients have in fact spoken, or certain of our 5 clients have in fact gone to the AG's office and spoken to representatives of the state attorney general's office. Now, where that stands, obviously, that's a question I believe would be better asked of the AG's office.
And before I get into more specifics of the allegations, let me ask you this. When I read it before, that Chief Farley promised transparency and professionalism in that public statement, how do you interpret that, considering what he's being accused of now?
Either he's on Pluto or I'm on Pluto, one or the other. And again, I get into animation or histrionics too much, but it just doesn't make any sense. We understand that give you an example. We understand that within the last couple of days, there's been a statement, right, disseminated to the public by a spokesperson, there in North Bergen, and apparently there's their position seems to be ostensibly that this is all over the cutting of overtime or pay or something like that. And that has absolutely nothing to do, zero, our five clients' claims. So why that would be issued, and listen, free speech, right to issue anything they want. But what they said about what allegedly precipitated the filing of these Title 59 notices of tort claim by our five clients has absolutely nothing to do and executed and filed these notices of tort claim. So, again, we're hearing nothing Bergen at this juncture. And, we have all five of which are scared to be on the job day in and day out, but one of which was illegally terminated. His son was transferred to the midnight shift. I mean, again, without getting too specific now.
That's what I actually wanted to get a little bit more specific about what we're dealing with so people know. So let me lay this out. And maybe the most disturbing claims come from retired detective Michael Darren, because according to the filings, Darren describes an August incident that is so bizarre, again, defies belief, because he claims that Farley chased him through the office before committing an unthinkable act, writing, "After cornering me in the filing area with no further room for retreat, he sticks a hypodermic needle through my jeans and literally into his genitals." He goes on to say, "The incident draws blood and further humiliates me when I had to explain the incident to my wife." But what Farley allegedly said afterward may be even more shocking. "When I told Chief Farley I was unhappy with his actions, he told me that I didn't know how to take a joke." And this alleged harassment didn't end there, because Darren also accused Farley of, and again, I apologize for how disgusting this is, shaving his body hair onto coworkers' property and food and scraping fluids from his underwear onto people seated in his office. And Darren claims when he planned to report Farley's behavior to the New Jersey AG's office, he was retaliated against in more ways than one. First, he claims he was fired. Then he claims his son, Detective Michael Darren, was given worse shifts. And the allegations get even more grotesque in Lieutenant Alex Guzman's legal notice, which describes Farley not only exposing himself, but repeatedly defecating in the office. And one particularly vile incident involved Farley allegedly leaving a disgusting gift in a trash can for the next officer who moved it into his old office. According to the filing, quote, "Chief Farley has, on several occasions, pulled his pants down and defecated on the floor in front of his entire office staff. During a cleanup of his former office, Chief Farley defecated in a trash can in front of Special Captain Darren and me. He left the feces in the trash can for Captain Montero to find after moving on to the office. Only after persistent urging from Special Captain Darren and me did Chief Farley eventually clean it up days later." And Guzman claims Farley didn't stop there. He allegedly left more feces on the bathroom floor. Patrick, I'm getting nauseous talking about it, but you mentioned there's a potential video. You have the statements from these officers. You say other witnesses could corroborate this, right? What are other ways, for example, the hypodermic needle incident or the defecation, what are ways that you plan to prove this at a future lawsuit?
There are witnesses, my friend, there are witnesses to just about all of what's laid out as on the in the riders and the exhibits to the Title 59, the File 59 notices of tort claim. That's number one. And when I say witnesses, numerous witnesses. Does anybody really think that a maintenance worker, an older female maintenance worker, is going to lie about something like this, who has no allegiance to anybody? What she's doing is breaking her back, and she has to be subjected to picking up and seeing feces all over the floor. And who's responsible for it? She's going to lie about something like this. And by the way, not to mention that our clients have made it clear to my partner Matthew and I that all five of them will immediately polygraph examinations. They said this to us 2-3 weeks ago, with not only any polygraphists that we routinely use here in our office, and we use one of the best there is in the country, a guy by the name of Jerry Lewis, former state trooper. They said they will undergo what we call independent, in other words, independent polygraphs that any individuals in Bergen and I agree upon. So this isn't just a unilateral, if anybody has that idea, a unilateral polygraph that the five of them would subject themselves to. This is both North Bergen and us agreeing on a completely independent individual. And our clients will jump on the polygraph tomorrow. Now, do you really think five law enforcement officers are going to say publicly that they will jump on the polygraph, tomorrow, yesterday, today, as to every allegation that they're making here, and are going to be lying about any of this? Now, we understand also in New Jersey, polygraph is inadmissible, but that's not the point. We're not using it for that reason.
How does this psychologically affect them, what they're claiming here? And also, do they have an explanation for why Chief Farley would have allegedly engaged in this behavior?
Not rational. It seems to be that this man from Adam, it's even off that I've never met him, I've never spoken to him, never had any dealings with him. It seems like funny or pranks, something along those lines. But they're so, like we said before, they're so bizarre that no rational or sane human being could feel that way. So, all five of our clients are concerned because what happened is the conduct escalated, and it escalated quickly ever since he was sworn in as chief of police, by the mayor there in North Bergen. Now, listen, I don't know the mayor of North Bergen from Adam. Never met him, never talked to him, don't know who, it doesn't even come to mind who it is. But the bottom line, how are you swearing somebody in like this? I mean, weren't there any signs, any portents, any omens prior to swearing him in that would lead you to believe at least something may be off? I don't know. So when you ask about the five, you got Special Law Enforcement Officer Darren, who was on the job for eons, who retired in good standing and asked to come back to work there. He's the individual who was fired when he's at the AG's office, literally telephonically fired at the AG's office reporting this. Out of nowhere, his kid, the poor kid, because that's his father, he's transferred to the midnight shift. You got Alex Guzman, a lieutenant, one of the best police officers I've ever met in my life, and I've met thousands over the years, who what's alleged to have happened to him is absolutely abhorrent. You have Officer Siam, who the racial remarks, made to him, camel jockey, your people are responsible for 9/11, not to mention. And, I won't say, you literally can't say it here, right? Although it's public record. The SN word utilized to him, you're a sand, the N word. I mean, where's this?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, none of this, going back to what I said previously, none of it, where it's by North Bergen, where it says that this all came to light because of overtime issues or something like that. So,
yeah.
Sorry to go on so long on that.
No, I appreciate you did it. And actually, just so our viewers and our listeners get a 360-degree picture of everything, I want to lay out a little bit more of the specifics here. So, because it doesn't end with the feces. So officers say that Farley drugged them, now not with narcotics, but with Viagra, slipping it into their coffee. Guzman's notice states Chief Farley has also tampered with office coffee by adding prescription medications such as Adderall and Viagra, causing staff to inadvertently experience the effects of these substances without their consent. Retired Detective Michael Darren backed this up, writing, I witnessed Chief Farley take a handful of pills, which I believe to be Viagra and Adderall, and put them in the office coffee pot and stir it so they melted and waited for someone to drink it. After witnessing this, I feared that he would put medication in there to make me purposely fail a drug test if I didn't comply with his orders, and began to drink strictly from the K-cup machine because I didn't feel it was safe to drink from the pot anymore. And on top of all this, there's alleged hot pepper attacks. Lieutenant Guzman writes, Chief Farley has a pattern of placing dangerously hot peppers in officers' food and heating them in the microwave, releasing fumes that have caused physical harm. One such incident caused Lieutenant Moyano to become ill and require EMS treatment. Additionally, fumes spread through the ventilation system, forcing the state police team working on alcotest machines to leave the building. Chief Farley instructed everyone to report the incident as a malfunctioning pepper spray canister in the armory if anyone asked. And then finally, you got the sex toys. So Guzman claims that Farley harassed him at home, alleging, "My family's been subjected to harassment through the delivery of inappropriate items such as gay pride flags, sex toys, and masturbation cream to my home. Chief Farley has sent these items to other officers' homes as well." Patrick, again, my gosh. As I'm listening to this, I'm also wondering, the health risks that are associated with this, but also, has OSHA been contacted? Is there health code violations? Is that another area that's being explored? Because you're thinking about the safety and health and well-being of employees in this office.
Well, the first thing we thought of, it's funny you said that also, when they mentioned those events, dealing with, this dissemination, placing certain substances in the microwave, going through air vents, things like that, you're immediately mandated, right, by law, right, to report these to the, OSHA violations, or what we call POSHA violations, Public Employee, Occupational Safety and Health Act. I think it is. No, we understand that was never done. That's number one, but that's separate. That's a separate issue in and of itself. The other things, the other issues that are essentially inextricably intertwined here are the criminal acts. So if these allegations are accurate, and we are quite confident they are, we counted at least, at a minimum, about 7 or 8 criminal offenses, part and parcel, of what we did here. I mean, not to mention, if you really want to stretch, I don't want to say stretch, but maybe that is a better word right now to be safe. If you want to stretch what we call Title 2C, the criminal code here in New Jersey, I mean, if you're sending a sex toy or a sex object to somebody's home who has a child there who's opening that, endangering the welfare of a child, I don't know. But most importantly, all this, you're talking about an individual. Let's forget the fact that he's a chief of police. Forget for a minute, okay? Assume arguendo, he's not a chief of police. A law enforcement officer. He has a gun and a badge. So somebody doing things like this, carrying a firearm, I mean, that's just, there's no other way to say it. That's just damn dangerous. So, I mean, we've suggested, albeit for us, right? But we suggested to the AG's office that, maybe they should take over the day-to-day operations of the department. Now, I know there's an issue that they have in the past. I think they took over Patterson, and it was ruled that they couldn't really do that. Well, the fact of the matter is, I agree with the AG's office here. I think that ruling, television ruling, was wrong. And I think the AG has the absolute right to take over any law enforcement office in the state of New Jersey. Not federal, but state. So, I mean, don't you think you want to come in, or at least send a group of people in from your office to take over the day-to-day, just to wait, just to see, I should say, what's going on there in the department, and just to bring that department to some sort of sense of normalcy, right? Something. Understand, that hasn't been done to date. But again, we implored the AG's office in a writing to do that about a week ago. So we're just waiting to see what happens there.
And I want to break down what are these potential causes of actions or claims. So you have civil conspiracy, breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing, violating the New Jersey Civil Rights Act, violating the Conscientious Employee Protection Act, violating the Federal Civil Rights Act. I just want to break down a few of these. What do you mean by civil conspiracy, and how do you plan to prove that?
You don't need me to say, you're doing your research, because you're spot on as to every one of those.
Well, it's the attorney in me, so yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this. Here, let me give you an example. Civil RICO, okay? It's obviously criminal in nature under Title 2C, a Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organization Act. Every time, a member of the lady hears that, they think back to Rudy Giuliani, and the 5 mob families, right? Criminal, that's how we brought them all down. No, well, the fact of the matter is there's civil RICO. And essentially what happens is, if there is some sort of criminal enterprise where consistently illegal acts are being done over and over and over again, and it's become sort of a criminal enterprise, which is what you have here. I mean, and there's no stretch in saying that. That's what you have here. It's crime after crime for whatever reason, who knows, right? But it's not stopping. So we believe there is a plausible, more than plausible, a civil RICO claim here. But remember, all of the claims that are made part and parcel of the rider, the attachment to the filed Title 59 notice of tort claim, they only speak to civil, the civil litigation which obviously is inevitable if North Bergen doesn't come to the table to settle. That's separate from criminal assault, aggravated assault, endangering the welfare of a child. Some of these sexual allegations, coming out of the bathroom naked, showing your genitals, saying you didn't think it was this big in front of people. I mean, there's 2C violations all over the place there. Lewdness, among other things. And the list would just goes on and on and on. Defecating, publicly all over the place, all over the floors, that's illegal. That's criminal in nature. This video, again, which is going to become part and parcel of a public filing, sometime tomorrow, that the chief, Farley, had in his possession, and he disseminated this video to several officers. And this is a video of someone urinating all over the place, in a public office, and nothing about it. But not only did he do nothing about it, this video, but he then has it, and he's the one that why, right? It's bizarre, opprobrious behavior and you have to think at first glance that anyone reading this, right, initially, their visceral reaction has to be, no, this can't be true. But again, we're very confident every word is true.
So I'll give you the final word on this, because despite what are incredibly graphic allegations, and you mentioned it before about the response, North Bergen officials, they have vigorously defended Farley, calling the claims false and outrageous. An official statement from a town spokesperson reads, "The Township of North Bergen has full confidence in Chief Robert Farley's leadership of the North Bergen Police Department, and we strongly deny these false and outrageous allegations made by disgruntled officers who are resorting to attacking the reputation of a dedicated public servant to further their own selfish goals. If these claims are advanced in a lawsuit, the township will vigorously defend North Bergen taxpayers against these blatant cash grabs and prove that the allegations are false and defamatory. In order to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest, and because we are fully confident that these claims will be proven false, we have proactively referred them to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office for review." So Patrick, they seem to be saying, okay, if this is true, we're going to, we're not bluffing. We'll send it out. We believe that he's tonally innocent. They seem to be siding with him. What do you make of that response? Because another way of looking at it is, if they look at the allegations, they could say, oh my gosh, we're not going to side with this one individual against multiple witnesses and multiple people, multiple officers. We'll immediately terminate him and move on. But they're sticking up for him. Why do you think that is?
Where? What else are they going to do, right? So this is what we call the defense du jour. That's what we're saying here in our office, right? That's number one. Number two, by virtue of that statement, okay, that's been made public, right? Therein lies, right there, that's evidence, it shows, of the systemic failure in North Bergen. This is the individual we are now going to support in light of the information and evidence, overwhelming evidence that's been provided to us. Why do you immediately support someone like that without first saying, maybe, might I suggest, these are troubling allegations. We will look into these allegations. We will forward them wherever we have to. Now, when you say we're looking into them, we all know that the municipality, if North Bergen says they're going to look into this, we've been here too many times over the years. When a municipality hires the person who's going to look into it, hires the entity, and pays the entity, do you really think that that's objective? What you do in a situation like this, might I suggest, and listen, this is a lawyer's opinion. I'm not saying, I'm the be all and end all. Might it not be cleaner by simply saying we are taking this entire mess and forwarding it to the state attorney general's office? Now, by the way, nothing wrong with the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. One of the finest prosecutor's offices in the state, okay? Deal with them all the time. But the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office deals with the North Bergen Police Department all the time with cases. So we're not saying anything suggestive or untoward would be done wrong by the HCPO, but you take it so everybody realizes it's completely objective. You remove it from that entire scenario, right? The demographics here, and you send it down to Trenton, or Cedar Knolls, the satellite office of the AG's office. I mean, you come out with that statement in light of everything we've been provided to you. Makes absolutely no sense.
Patrick Toscano, thank you so much for coming on to break this down. We're going to continue to follow it. It is, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm actually a little nauseous after reading all this, but yeah, we're going to continue to follow it. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you breaking down the claims from your clients, and thank you again.
Pleasure, my friend. You take care.
All right, everybody. Sorry for all that. I know it was pretty disgusting, to say the least, but again, important case to cover. Appreciate you following us here on Sidebar, and as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.